For more on finance, I'm joined in the studio by financial journalist and strategist with stock market newsletter Marcus Today, Henry Jennings. Good morning to you, Henry.
Good morning, Deb.
So it was interesting, we just heard the Treasurer Scott Morrison responding to comments by the Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe last night.
Yeah.
Philip Lowe's really stepped out as a very outspoken RBA governor, hasn't he?
He's certainly more outspoken than we saw with Glenn Stevens. Glenn Stevens was very much sort of cool, relaxed and very calm about things, whereas certainly Philip Lowe has been a little bit more outspoken. And he has last night, I mean, that speech was quite important, I think, and it does throw the spotlight on the government and other issues in terms of what can happen, because the RBA is a little bit sort of stuck at the moment. They can't really lower rates and they can't really raise rates. So I think they're on hold. But he is certainly prodding and pushing APRA and the government into doing something about this housing affordability crisis.
Yeah, let's break down what he said, because basically he's saying that housing debts are rising twice as fast as household income, and he's particularly concerned that banks are lending to people who cannot afford it. A lot of focus this morning has been on those interest-only loans that people are worried about.
Well, and this is what was sort of one of the reasons behind the GFC, I guess, in the US, is that the banks were lending to people that couldn't really afford it. And obviously this is a concern for Philip Lowe at the moment. This is happening here, and this growth in interest-only loans in the investor market is certainly a concern, and how we address that remains to be seen. But he certainly made some interesting comments last night, and did also talk about the supply side as well, and infrastructure spending to promote that supply side.
In many ways, like you said, the RBA governor's hands are tied because rates are already at record low. He can't go any lower. Apart from APRA and ASIC, what about the budget? What can the government do to help address this housing problem?
Well, there's lots of things the government could do. It's a question of whether the government is brave enough to do it. Negative gearing is obviously one area they could look at, but if they abolish negative gearing or certainly downsized it dramatically, that could actually produce a bubble within a bubble as people rushed out to beat the deadline. So they have to be very careful. They could maybe restrict the amount of investment properties that people do own, which certainly has happened in other countries as well.
And Treasurer Scott Morrison just said that, abolishing negative gearing would be like taking a sledgehammer to it. So it's unlikely that he's very much likely to move on that.
I'd say it's highly unlikely. It would take a very courageous government to move down that track.
Just quickly, Henry, before I let you go, I want to talk quickly about the coal prices and the impact that Cyclone Debbie has had on them. They've gone up overnight.
They certainly have. I mean, there's been big disruptions in Queensland because of the floods. So, a lot of our coal comes out of Queensland. A lot of it's coking coal. It's a crucial period at the moment in terms of renegotiating the quarterly pricing. Whitehaven coal did very well yesterday. They export out of New South Wales, which is obviously a big benefit for them. But it's going to be interesting to see how far this coal price can push, depending on how much the disruptions, how long they do actually take. They're talking 5 weeks, but it could be longer, who knows.
All right, Henry Jennings, great talking to you. Thank you.
Pleasure, Dale.
Michael, Virginia, back.